I may have been overly ambitious, and now it's biting me in the ass. Hello beautiful, if you are new to my channel, my name is Cierra and this is Cierra Reads and Writes. On this channel, I love to talk about books of various genres while also creating stories with complex black characters that I know you'll love. And if you are not new to my channel, hi, I missed you. I did talk about my fall stack a while back. You can check that video out in the description box, but this video is about the book so far. Spoiler alert, not that good. That's not to say that it's been terrible, but my aunt and I have been obsessively watching Selling Sunset from the very beginning. The new season of Love is Blind is out, and I have my fall shows and movies to watch as well. With Selling Sunset just about done, and I've watched 3 out of my 5 shows and a few movies. Supernatural is on my list, but I heard it gets bad after season 5, and I'm still on season 1, episode 19, as I just checked while filming this video. But I'm also watching A Discovery of Witches, which is 3 seasons, so one of them's gotta get kicked off the list, possibly. We'll see how that goes. I've read a few books out of my stack. I'm not counting the impromptu books that I've added on, but out of the 11 books so far that I have, 11 or so books, I've read about 5 of them. So let's see which ones were a hit and which ones were a miss. September was hectic. It was mentally draining, and I took a mental health day, and for that mental health day, I went to the library. So I got myself a library card, and within the same day, I checked out 3 books. And the book that I did bring, I read it within 2 hours. So I guess we would say it was a win. And that book was The Teacher by Frida McFadden. Every time I say her name, I want to say Fallon. Moving on. I bought this at Target, and I swear those end caps are literally doing the double. I feel like I don't have to read the blurb because Frida's books have become so popularized, but making assumptions is stupid. So we're just gonna go ahead and read the back for you all. Eve has a good life. She gets up every day, gets a kiss from her husband, and heads off to teach math at the local high school. All is as it should be, except last year, Kasem High was rocked by a scandal involving a student-teacher affair with one student, Addie, at its center. But Eve knows there's far more to these ugly rumors than meets the eye. Addie can't be trusted. She lies. She hurts people. She destroys lives. At least that's what everyone says. But nobody knows the real Addie. Nobody knows the secrets that could have destroyed her if people at school found out. And when Eve discovers the shocking truth, Addie will do anything to keep her quiet. Y'all, when I say this book went by fast, it went by fast. To me, it kind of reads like a Lifetime movie, and I love Lifetime movies. With the chaotic characters, unexpected decisions that they're making, and just the wildness of it all was very much so something that I've loved from watching Lifetime movies, especially with how Eve was making certain decisions, Addie's decisions, Nate's choices. Everyone was so chaotic and wild that I just didn't expect it at all. But that's all to say, it's not a hit, but it's also not a miss. Like, it just satisfied enough of that palette of Lifetime movies and just like recklessness that I enjoy, if that makes any sense. All right, next up is She is a Haunted by Trang Han Tran. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this one is, when Jade Wen arrives in Vietnam to visit her estranged father, she has one goal: survive 5 weeks pretending to be a happy family in the French colonial house Ba is restoring. She's always lied to fit in, so if she's straight enough, Vietnamese enough, American enough, she can get out with the college money he promised. But the house has other plans. Night after night, Jade wakes up paralyzed. The walls exude a thrumming sound while bugs leave their legs and feelers in places they don't belong. She finds curious traces of her ancestors in the gardens they once tended. And at night, Jade can't ignore the ghost of the beautiful bride who leaves cryptic warnings: don't eat. Neither Ba nor her sweet sister Lily believe anything strange is happening. With help from a delinquent girl, Jade tries to expose the house's rotten appetite. A home, after all, is only as powerful as those who breathe new life into its bones. And this one is determined never to be abandoned again. This one was more of a slower book for me. I feel like it took a lot of my brain power, and I was always rereading chapters, rereading paragraphs. I couldn't really like focus and hone in on what was happening. And with the dream sequences, it was the same font as like the rest of the book. So it was a little bit hard for me to like keep up with what's happening and just like following the story in general. Like it got to like about like I would say 60% in the book, then it started to pick up. But in that first 60%, it took too much out of me, so I would say it was a miss purely to my library trip. So while I was there, I checked out 3 books. I only got to 2 of them, and one of the books that I got to and actually finished was I Feed Her to the Beast, and the Beast was me. So I'll put a picture up here by Jameson Shea, and I would say this book was purely phenomenal. I love me a main character with female rage, especially a black character. Ooh, I ate this shit up. It was so freaking. Laura has been working her ass off at ballet school with experience with prestige, classism, and discrimination. It kind of makes it hard for her to reach that level of success that she desires. And so what does a person do to gain power and prestige? They make a deal with the devil, or some powerful being at least. And that's what Laura does, but at what? We have the show Tiny Pretty Things, a Netflix show based off of the books by Cierra, a ballet school in Chicago where the students have cutthroat experiences, and possible murder as well. I knew this book was right up my alley. I don't know what it is lately, but I've been having like such a slow start to books. But with this one, it picked up a little bit faster than the previous book. So I will say that is a definite plus. And with this high intensity of the situation in the environment that these dancers are in, all of the characters are very unlikable. And I mean that in a positive way because of what they're going through, the pressure, the immense pressure they're under from each other, from their families, even from, I don't know how to describe them. I guess they're socialites, but also people like in charge of ballet, like just head honchos pretty much. With all that pressure, no one's going to be likable because everyone is very vulnerable and they're going through so much. Also, it could be through like eating disorders, so mentally it's very taxing on them as well too. So when it comes to Laura, I already knew she wasn't going to be like a very complex character because she doesn't want to be vulnerable, especially because she doesn't want them to like look down on her based on her blackness and her upbringing, because they always play back to like, oh, she's an orphan. She's really not an orphan, but they like really play into that, and they really use her blackness as a way of being like, oh, you're not gonna be a good enough ballet dancer, or like, oh, I'm shocked you're decent for, you know, for a black girl, that type of thing. So there's a lot of that going on. And so Laura tries her hardest to gain power and prestige in a world that is pretty much sadistic. And so how Jameson and Cierra have described the ballet scene, it's very much you have to give all of yourself into ballet. And so for Laura, dancing is all or nothing for her. It's the only thing she has. So if she's not successful, if she's not getting that level of success that she desires and she wants for herself, she has nothing. Then pretty much everything that she's worked for is gone. And so I guess that level of like vulnerability and that greed is very like insatiable. And I really loved it. Just seeing her go down like such a dark path just to get what she wants. So this book was an absolute hit. Alright, so the next book on the list is The Spare Room by Andrea Bartz. I'm gonna put it up here. And this one follows Kelly, who's living a less than desired life in Philly. She has a lot going on between her and her fiance. And so through social media, due to the pandemic, she reconnects with a childhood friend named Sabrina. So now she is like displaced. They're temporarily separated from her fiance. Kelly ends up moving in with Sabrina and her husband Nate. And while Kelly is living with them, feelings arise within her that she never expected to happen. And so what once was her less than desired life turns into something a little bit more as Kelly, Sabrina, and Nate form a threesome, a triple, if you will. And they're living in like complete bliss, but there's a lot of chilling secrets about Sabrina and Nate's background and a missing person that used to occupy Kelly's space that kind of like taint it and also taint their relationship. Also a lot of outside perspectives from the neighbors as well. And this leaves Kelly like very confused, terrified, and she's hungry for a love that she's never expected to be involved in. This book was something, all right. This is actually the second Andrea Bart's book that I've read, and I would definitely say this one was far more interesting than the first one. But still, it was a lot of weirdness, and that's not to say like a throuple is weird. It was just a lot happening really fast. It felt like Kelly was really not dealing with her emotions and feelings when it comes to the situation with her fiance, and then immediately jumping into this new situation, everything shifted like 360, completely different, and it happened so fast. So to me, it was very much like she wasn't really taking the time to understand and grasp what happened. She was really just jumping into the next thing. So I feel like it was more like unresolved trauma being like shoved under the rug, and then she was just like standing on it like everything's fine type of thing. So it was just different. It was a little different. It was a little weird with how everything just happened so quickly, and how Sabrina and Nate let her in so quickly. And so the way I thought the story was going to go wasn't how it went. And so that's like, it's very different from what I expected, especially from Kelly's ex-fiance as well too, and how he is in the story. I'm not going to give it away, but just parts of it, it didn't make sense to me. It was all very weird, and yeah, just that really very much. So I can't really say if it was like a hit or miss, because it just left me scratching my head. It was intriguing, trust me, it was intriguing, and I was reading it, I was into it, but it left me scratching my head as of like, huh, what? Did that really all that happen? Really? Are you sure? Just like that type of thing. I don't know. Alright, so the last book on the list is My Sweet Girl by Amanda Jayatissa. And so this follows Paloma. She is actually in an orphanage, and she has like this dream of being adopted and living this extravagant, amazing life in America. And as we get to see her as she's older now, the life that she dreamed of is nothing like that, of the sorts. That's not her actual life. We're actually like thrusted into the moment of her pretty much seeing her roommate Aaron's dead body on her floor. But when she calls the police and they come to investigate, Aaron's body is not there. So the story really navigates her trying to find Aaron's body, figure out what even happened in the first place, and how to get him to not let her secret out. So the story really goes back and forth between the current time period of her doing this whole like investigation, while also going back to when she was at the orphanage, and all the different things that happened while she was really sets herself as this unreliable narrator, and I absolutely love it. Her perspective is very convincing, and just navigating the whole situation between her and Arun and what her secret is. I found it just completely shocking to me. Everything leading up to it was like really like dark, twisted, and I absolutely loved it. So for me, this book was definitely a hit. Alright, so a book that I'm currently reading, I'm like a little bit over halfway through, is Little Eve by Catriona Ward. And so this book follows a detective who stumbles upon a scene where he finds dead bodies on top of a geometric shape, but there's a survivor, and so the survivor is like recounting everything that leads up to the incident. And so it's a very much, it's a cult book. Let's say that it's a cult book, and it has a lot of different POVs in it. I really like Eve's POV because I love seeing like how she goes from point A to Z, see how her mind like bends and warps as she is in this cult, and their cult leader, who they call Uncle, It's very sinister, like all cult leaders. It's very intriguing. It's very interesting. At first, it's like a slow build. It is more of like a period type of cult book. So this is like set like I think it's like 1960s, but like it goes by to like 1970s. So it's like, you know, the language is a little bit different, and getting to understand what their cult's language is. You're like, oh, what's this? You're learning like what the ward is, what is their like fasting thing that they're going through. But now I'm on the part where Eve is starting to see things, and it's getting really good. I absolutely love it so far, so I feel like this is definitely going to be a hit. Thank you for watching all the way through the video. You deserve a cookie for all your hard work, or more books. Tap that subscribe button and open up yourself to a world full of books with me as your partner in crime. Until next time, stay magical. Bye.